Hi. So we're going to be working on making a digital collage. So to do that, open up Adobe Photoshop, which you'll have with your Creative Cloud that you should have with your um, tuition, I believe. So we're going to create new, and we're going to make it 8.5 by 11 inches. Um, I think we should do landscape, but we'll discuss that as a class. And 300 resolution is ideal, so keep it at 300. RGB color is usually like the standard choice because you can, distribute it all over online or whatever. And for printing, most printers use RBG, some use CMYK, but you can always discuss that with your printer if you want to print things. So we're going to create that. And so what I did was I made a little, uh, I grabbed some images from Google and put them in this folder. I thought 5 images would be good. I did a kind of landscape thing and then a few things to throw on top. Um, yeah, and you'll figure out which images you want as you go. Like, don't worry about it. Just for the sake of this, I thought it would be easier to start off with some. I'm just going to stretch that. Stretching things will distort them, so what we had before was this size. So it has a certain amount of pixels. And when I go like this, it's actually just inventing pixels to fill up those spaces. So if you want things to be like clean and clear, stretching things isn't the best, but I don't think it's always a problem. And if something's going to be small, like if you're not going to print it huge, it's not a big deal. So what I did there was I dropped it, and you have to hit enter so that the object sticks. I'm just going to throw the rest of these on. So enter. Enter. Oh, that one's small. Yeah, I thought that one might be small, so I saved actually another version of it, which it's still small, but whatever. Airplane and Adam and Eve. Classic. Always throw in some art history. People like that. Okay. So the first tool that I want you to think about using or use is the Lasso Tool. It is a digital collage friend to all. It's helpful for other things too, but so yeah, just outline it. Like think about it like scissors, like if you were cutting something. I'm currently just using a mouse. That's why the lines are not very clean, but I don't mind right now because I can always go back in later and clean it up. And if I don't have a tablet, this is a fine thing to do. So I clicked on this layer because that's the layer that has my dinosaur. And then I'm going to click here because that creates a mask. So a mask is much better than an eraser because if I erase something, it's gone forever. Like that doesn't, those pixels are deleted. Thankfully, I can go Command Z and go back a step. But here you have, that's the mask layer. So see how I'm using the white over here? I'm adding my pixels back in. And then if I go with the black, I'm erasing the pixels. But not actually erasing them, because this is on a separate thing from this. Anyway, great tip. Always do that. Much better than the eraser. Just saying. Okay, so here I went Command T, which is for transform. And transform, you can do a lot of different things. You can make, oh, I'm already rotating. But you can do like weirder things. This is really fun to play with. It totally changes the perspective. You can also flip things. So now now he can be facing that way. Another great tool is, so you can create another layer and then go Alt, yeah, just hit Alt or Option, and then it'll create this little guy, and then it goes down. Another way to do that, if you don't have like a Mac maybe, use right click. Oh no, wait, how do you do it? 1 second. Okay, you right click somewhere, and then you go down to create clipping mask, and that's the same thing. So yeah, right click on where it says layer 1, and then it's right there. So I'm just gonna do that, Alt, and then now a neat thing that I can do is I can just like dump a color on here, and see how it's the whole square. Like this whole layer is blue, but because of clipping mask, it's only touching what I had in the layer under it. So my dinosaur. And then you can do cool things where you can play around with these things. And then you can just make like really funky things. I really like the difference one. But yeah, you can just make them blue. Whatever you want. It's your collage. Oh, see, I'm accidentally moving this layer instead of the layer I wanted to move, which is this one. Oh, if that keeps happening, just lock that layer, and then you can click this one. Locking layers is key to keeping sane, especially when, like, sometimes you can get like hundreds of like layers going on, and or even like 20 layers. You're gonna get stressed. So lock whenever you need to. So now I got this blue dinosaur. I got this guy. I'm also just gonna, you know, cut him out. Oops. Make sure you're always on the right layer. Yeah, now I can just transform, shrink, do whatever I want. And the cool thing about collage is you can make it make sense, or you can make it not make sense. Like, it doesn't need to be super rational. You're just making a story, a visual story, using found materials. You can also create your own materials and then use them in there too. Like, you can draw something directly on your collage, or use an old drawing that you have in your collage. So the reason I wanted Adam and Eve was because I wanted them to be next to this tree. They might be, oh, I can stick them there. I'll move this guy more. And yeah, so just play around, and you'll figure out what works for you as you go. That's like kind of the only way to learn and play and all that jazz. So yeah, now I'm like committed to changing this. Oh, and if you could select something and you don't want it selected like that, hit Command D for deselect. You know what? And cleaning up your collage will actually be quite an essential part. Like, just get in there. I gotta figure out which layer this was on. So, again, we're on the mask, and we're gonna use black to fill things in. Again, I'm using a mouse right now, which makes things a little more challenging, but it's not completely impossible. Might not be super clean, but it still works. And sometimes this like not so clean vibe, like this weird line, can become an interesting aesthetic. But make sure when you're making these choices that you're conscious of that. Like, I understand that this is considered like bad art. Cutting off someone's head, that's fine. And then to fill it back in, go in with white. So yeah, just keep working on it. Do what makes you happy. Find colors that look nice together. That's something that I think unifies a collage. Like I I think when I chose the objects I chose or the materials I chose, there was like a reason for it, you know? And I'll also I don't have to keep him this color. I just go back to what he was, make him bigger. I don't know, whatever, you know? And again, you'll be sharing this with someone else, so you can do whatever you want, but also don't worry about it because it's gonna change. So yeah, that's how you make a digital collage using Photoshop. Thank you. This was my TED Talk. JK, JK. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop recording now.